Hi, hey, hello. Welcome back to my channel. Today, what are we doing? Oh, we're talking about my 2026 anticipated releases. You might see there's a light here. It's my laptop. We're going to see if we can do this again where I successfully screen record what's happening here and put it up here for you guys. Some of these, if you happen to be someone, I roll my eyes because it's like, I'm really talking to myself here and the occasional stranger on the internet who pops in for 30 seconds. But if you've perused my channel, some of these that I'm going to mention are probably repeats. And I wanted to do 26 books for 2026, and I landed with about 28. So some of these are repeats, some of these are brand new because they just got like announced. But yeah, so let me actually... Okay, I got it. So the first one we have is going to be one that I have definitely mentioned before, which is Through Gates of Garnet and Gold. I love the Wayward Children series. It's Portal Magic. I think this is honestly, yes, book 11. And they like rotate. So you start off with when you're at the school for the Wayward Children, and then you do one. The next book is somewhere out in the world or about somebody else's story. Then we're back at the school. And so they're interconnected like that. And this one, I believe we've left the school. Let's see. After Nancy was cast out of the halls of the dead and forced to enroll in Elder West School for Wayward Children, she never believed she'd find her door again. And when she did, she didn't look back. She disappeared from the school to resume her place in the halls, never intending to return. Years have passed, a darkness has descended on the halls, and the living statues who populate them are dying at the hands of the already dead. The lord and lady who rule the land are helpless to stop the slaughter, forcing Nancy to leave the halls again, this time on purpose as she attempts to seek much-needed help from her former classmates. But who would volunteer to quest in a world where the dead roam freely? And why are the dead so intent on adding to their numbers? Anyways, I'm pumped. I was wondering, I was like, I couldn't remember, but she's going to go back to school and go grab her friend. So I'm excited to see who's going to traverse this world with Nancy, because I was very sad in the series when she went home. Now this one is an arc I got approved for because I do want to do like a third episode of reading Formula One romances. So this is Racing Hearts. It also comes out in January. So this one just says, racing was a solo sport until now. Georgia is making history in the F1 world as the lead racer of the first all-female team. Already at the top of her game, she wants to win the World Drivers' Championship, but that means proving herself among the men. Luca's racing career has been quite different, a whirlwind of fame and women. But his love for racing is starting to wane after a reckless yacht, they're millionaires, incident. He now faces losing his precious Hermes seat. Okay. Well, at the club post-race, Georgia and Luca fatefully crossed paths. Although it was only a drunken, meaningless kiss, the paparazzi strike and the fans love it, with the best PR either of them have had. Their teams urge them to continue a fake romance until the end of the season. But how will they go for their careers? But how far will they go for their careers and reputation? And will they be crossing the finish line together? I'm excited. So it's an arc. Comes out. I'm pumped. Or at least I have it. I can read it. Next, Graceless Heart. This one, if I do manage to read it, will be my very first Isabel Ibanez. Because I do have the Vampires of El Norte. Well, technically, my sister has it. Because she wanted to borrow it. And has she read it? No. Has she returned it? No. But anyways... this one, I feel like everybody's aware of. And, oh, this is a really long one. Who knows if I'm really going to read this. It just says, in the 15th century, Volterra, sculptress, and this is why I shouldn't read these things, because I'm dyslexic. Ravenna enters a competition hosted by a secretive, immoral family who offer an invaluable boon to the victor. Desperate to win so she can save her brother, R reveals a rare magical talent, a dangerous act in a city where magic is forbidden. Her revelation makes her a target, and she is kidnapped by Luna family and taken to Florence, a city of breathtaking beauty and cutthroat ambition. There, R is forced into an impossible task where failure means certain death at the hands of Saturnio? Luna, the family's a magnetic and merciless heir, but under his cold reserve hides a vulnerability that draws her closer than she's ever intended. And that's about as far as we're going to get. Interesting. Next, I've read this one already. This is book 2 in like the Glitter Bats. So I think the first book is Only for Tonight. This one follows the band. They're interconnected. It's an interconnected band romance, and it follows 2 more members of the band. And it was fun, but let's read, shall we? For Glitterbat's keys player, Jane Mercer, writing music helps tune out her self-doubt and a strict upbringing. Composing also distracts from her longtime feelings for her bandmate and best friend, Keely, who Jane can't pursue if she wants to keep her bisexuality out of the media. But when an incompetent percussionist quits mid-recording session on one of her major solo projects, there's only one drummer to call to make the deadline. Keely. Anyways, well, I guess let me finish. Keely Cunningham is determined to do what's best for the newly reunited Glitterbats, including concealing her incurable attraction to Jane by keeping her distance. Still, when Jane asks for help in the studio, Keely drops everything to fill in. They collaborate harmoniously until their repressed feelings crescendo into a massive argument about the band's future that leaves them barely speaking. As music forces Jane and Keely into increasingly close proximity, the lingering tension finally ignites into the romance they've been craving, and it's hot, emotional, and fundamentally secret. But after an intimate moment is caught on camera, it sure is. They'll have to decide if their duet can survive its debut, both on and off stage. This decade-long friendship between 2 rock goddesses is thrusted into the spotlight after their mutual desire strikes a perfect and very public chord. It was a good time. What did I give it? As you can see, a 4. If you're interested in musical romances, I thought this one was a good one because their relationship felt very on their own, but also made sense for what I already knew from them from book 1. And then the interconnected plot that continues on for the Glitterbats band also does make sense and was believable. And I'm very much looking forward to the possibility of book 3. But this one was a good one. Then we've got Throne of Nightmares. This is probably one I've already mentioned. There's not much to say, okay? It's 3rd in a series. A book of dangerous magic draws 2 readers into perilous quests to find it and their happy ending in this action-packed standalone fantasy romance from Carrie Macansecco, whatever. A prince prefers games of the head to those of the heart. A librarian who's all sweet sunshine until she burns. A twisted tale that means they cannot trust themselves or their hearts. So this is the Prince of Sloth. And so I did not like book 2. I think I've already discussed Throne of Secrets. That was ridiculous. And such a bummer. I can't even remember. We're not going to go back and look. I was about to click on it and then no. I did not like that. I did like Throne of the Fallen. It's on my bookshelf. Very much so. This is, I was like, honestly, keeping in good faith as what her YA series that went from like 0 to 175 in the last book. Kingdom of the Wicked. That's what it's called. That one. I sometimes find these throned ofs in the YA section. And I'm not saying that someone as a teen couldn't read these, but I don't know. I guess if like the last book in Kingdom of the Wicked is in YA, I guess these 2 could be YA. They're just especially like smutty. Anyways, I'm looking forward to this. I'm hoping that this replicates how I felt about like the first book in the Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy and possibly the second book because I don't think I minded it. I really enjoyed Throne of the Fallen and I'm hoping it's not repeating Throne of the Secrets because that book was trash. It's like she just wanted to write a dragon book. And so then just write a dragon book. It made no sense. We don't need to get into it. Okay? Anyways. Next. And now back to you. I feel like I probably also talked about this one already, but it's simply book 2 and the heartstrings, like, interconnected standalones. And I really liked First Time Caller. That was my first became Borson because I have not read any of the Lovelight Farms ones. And I'm very excited for this one. It's Weather Boy meets Weather Girl. One big storm is heading their way. Jackson Clark lives life neat, predictable, and preferably viewed from the comfort of his radio booth. Delilah Stewart prefers hers wild spontaneously and preferably in the eye of the storm out in the field. What a wild thing to say. Anyways, this just says 2 competing meteorologists are forced to find common ground in this opposite attracts when Harry met Sally inspired romance. I'm pumped. Not much to say about that. I'm here for it. Also, I think the covers are cute. Next. Is this Cabaret in Flames? I don't know. I don't know how to say this author's name. Hatchet Pio? Let's see. What is this one about? I saw this. I don't know what drew me to this book or where I even saw it, but oh. I think I was like on somebody's website or like a publisher's website. Anyways, it says ghouls can be brutal. Few know this better than, I feel like that's Adeline, but that's not Adeline because where would that even say that, Elizabeth? We're just going to call her Ari, or them Ari, who lost half her body to their appetites, but their brutality is a predictable constant amid Brazil's political chaos. Now she treats them in the specialized clinic she inherited from Eric somebody. The mentor who rescued her as a child and trained her in medicine, built her prosthetics, and disappeared without a trace. A's routine is disrupted when Quaint knocks on her door. Quaint? Cute? I really wish I wasn't dyslexic, because then it just sounds, sometimes I'm like, it just makes me sound rude when I'm reading out loud and I don't know words to, like, names. On her door, a charming tattooed girl claiming to be Eric's oldest friend. Q suspects foul play in Eric's disappearance, and they soon discover Eric sought asylum at Cabar, an infamous club in Rio de Janeiro frequented by the ghoul elite. Together, A and Q will unravel the conspiracy behind their friend's disappearance, navigating the labyrinth. That's not, is that the, nope. I don't think that's labyrinth. The Lythinry? Whatever. Not whatever, but also world. Maybe it is labyrinth of A's memories, and discover what Eric means to them and what they are starting to mean to each other. So, that sounds interesting. Nice little novella. Next we have Hell's Heart. Hell's Heart is a queer speculative fiction retelling of Melville's classic story. Don't know what that is. Let's see. Here, it says, here a small party go hunting for a giant space creature and experience grand adventure, love, and loss along the way. Let's see what the first paragraph says. Earth is a ruin, and the scattered remnants of humanity scavenge what they can find from the stars. This under the watchful pieces. Dude, it's really, how do I have a master's degree? Of a grab bag of collectives, corporations, and churches. These are all that remains of what we call society. Having long exhausted any conventional sources of energy, life in the solar system is now sustained by a volatile hallucinogenic substance. This harvested from the brains of vast, that looks like whatever. I don't know. Like I know this word because it's a book. Leviathans that swim the atmospheric currents of Jupiter. So sorry if you find my inability to like read cohesively annoying. It is what it is. I can't. Then, I'm not typically a horror girly, but I have seen some of the YouTubers talk about you should have been nicer to my mom. And we'll see. I feel like this may or may not actually be something I read, but it says, demons clash with inheritance claims as secrets unfold and violence is unleashed over 12 harrowing hours trapped in a house where the worst thing in a house with the worst thing imaginable, family. Dude, I'm like really, surprisingly really excited about the idea of reading this. It says, when Papi Roman, the patriarch of the wealthy Abri family, dies, he gives the family one last message in the will. One of you is Albaca, the demon that I made a deal with. Get rid of them or you'll be damned. Zamora, I don't know, is X, the uncontested favorite of Papi, and therefore the least liked in the family, watches as everyone dismisses this as a joke of a senile old man and demands the lawyer obtain the previous will Papi wrote. It's crazy because I wouldn't be. If someone said that to me, my family would be like, go get a bruja for sure. While the lawyer drives back to his office, a storm breaks out, forcing the entire family, Zamora's aunts and uncles and cousins, to remain in the house, and the worlds of Papi's will hang over their head even heavier than the rain clouds. Over the course of the night, scandal after scandal is revealed to the public about the family. Suddenly, a tense few hours of surviving her family turns into a vicious night of re-incrimination, violence, accusation, and murder! X is faced with an impossible task: uproot a demon and somehow kill it, or excise the ghosts that linger within her own family. And the clock is ticking. Does that sound good? I thought so. I feel like a lot of people have talked about this. I don't even know how to say this. Inamorata? I don't know. Ava Reed is so, honestly, I say hit or miss, but actually, very miss, very little hit, because I did love The Wolf and the Woodsman, her debut. And then, honestly, A Fable at the End of the World, I think that's what it's called, wrecked me. And then, like, A Study of Drowning was like, okay. And then the Juniper one, it just, it wasn't a book for me. I wasn't the audience for that book, and that's okay. So let's see. This one I've seen going around, people making comments and excited to, like, see what this new duology is. And it's, once there was an island where the dead walked on the earth, and 7 noble houses ruled using the arcane secrets of necromancy. A conqueror's blade brought them low, burning their libraries, killing their lords, and extinguishing their eldritch magic. But defiant against the new order stand the House of Teeth. Its last living members are the most beautiful Marozia, the heir to the house, and her cousin, the uncanny Lady Agnes. Though she has not spoken in 7 years, Agnes is the true carrier of the house's legacy, and she has her orders. She must recapture the secrets of death magic, avenge her family's fallen honor, and arrange her cousin's betrothal to, what are these names? Luparind? Heir to the Conqueror's throne, but when forbidden passion sparks between Agnes and the Golden Prince himself, she faces an impossible choice. For Agnes' final order is the gravest. She must not fall in love. Next, we have... okay, here's the sitch. Hunt the Villain. This one is MLM, and I started reading... No, this one is the sequel to Kiss the Villain, which was also MLM. And right now I'm reading the sequel in Beautiful Venom, the hockey series one from Rena Kent. Tell you what, I fell asleep halfway through it. And I'm really starting, the more I read, the more I'm realizing that I think I only like Rena Kent's, like, male gay, like, romances. So I'm very pumped for Hunt the Villain. Like, ecstatic. Like, let's freaking go. This is probably going to tell you nothing. It just says, I'm hunting a monster. Yeah, classic. Oh, I forgot. It's Julian and Vaughn's story. Like, I don't think you do not know how excited I am for this, okay? The first time I met Julian, Dimitri, is that how you say that name? I don't know. It was hate at first sight. He's brass, chaotic, and a violence junkie. In short, everything I disregard as the heirs of 2 notorious mafia organizations. We were shoved together in an unorthodox setting. The more I learn about Julian, the deeper my loathing seeps until I see the person within and something forbidden strikes between us. But our coexistence is cut short when tragedy strikes. Yulia and I go back to our respective parallel worlds that shouldn't cross, but they do. But once again, I'm dragged into the orbit of a man I shouldn't want. Two men can't be together in our world, but Yulia blurs every line I thought existed until everything's in jeopardy, our hearts included. Yeah, we love to see it. We love to see it. And I'm pumped. I need her to just write men. And I'm just not a fan of her hetero romances, which is a bummer because there's a lot of them. Now, another horror. Who am I? I don't know. I can't wait. This is wretched. I saw someone else talking about this. I've seen like a couple people talk about this. But from rising horror star and award-winning author of Things Have Gotten Worse Since the Last Time We Spoke comes a nightmarish, haunting, tech, gothic thrill ride about sorrow, memory, and the unabashed complexity of love as a transgressive act. After his husband dies, Simon Link finds himself overcome by grief and seeking comfort in an unusual support group called the Wretches, who offer an addictive and dangerous source of relief. They introduce Simon to a curious figure known as the Porcelain Caw, a man with the ability to let those who are grieving have one last intimate moment with their beloved for a price. Hallucinatory, fiendish, and destructively beautiful, Wretched transports us to a world where not everything is as it seems, and those we love may be the ones who haunt us the most. This feels like it's going to destroy my whole heart, but I thought it was really interesting because it's like a moment with like someone you lost, and sometimes, you know, I want to read grief. I don't know. Next, I think I have already talked about this one. Game On. Apparently everyone hated Caught Up and thinks this cover's ugly. They're not here for it. I am. I'm ready. I'm pumped. I just am. You know? I think these books are fun, but you all live your best life. Anyways, I hate that woman. Tyler has spent years looking for his father, and not because he wants to meet the man. No, he wants to destroy him, and he'll manipulate whoever he can to exact his revenge. I think this is the first time I actually am reading the description. Anyways, including Stella. She's everything Tyler hates. Her wealth and privilege have protected her entire life, and Tyler thinks it's time she finally paid the price, whether she's ready or not. I hate that man. Stella might not believe in love at first sight, but loathing at first sight, no question. From the moment she sets eyes on Taylor, I keep wanting to call him Taylor. It's Tyler. In her tattoo parlor, she knows he's the devil planning to make her life hell. Forced to play the part of his girlfriend and invite him into her family's glittering circles, Stella quickly clocks Tyler's alternative motives. But love and hate are two sides of the same coin, and soon she doesn't know which is worse, being blackmailed by a man who wants to ruin her, or they can't seem to keep their hands off each other. Game On is an enemy to the lover's dark romance with morally gray characters. Yeah. Down for it. Next, I saw this one. Hold Me Like a Grudge. Because it's a wrestling romance. Or like a WWE type romance. Let's see. When a fierce rivalry between two professional wrestlers grows increasingly heated, neither man can fight the attraction burning between them in this dazzling debut romance. From dramatic character gimmicks to death-defying stunts and everything in the world of professional wrestling is an act. Asher's hatred for Caleb, however, is not. When Asher gets drafted to the Global Elite Wrestling main roster, playing the role of Caleb's worst enemy, the face to his heel, I don't know what that means, should be easy. Stripping him of his world championship title should be even easier. But as the two men trade barbs and blows across the arena, they are each surprised to find their chemistry is so sizzling, it can't just be for the cameras. Through training sessions, rehearsals, and injuries, Caleb's icy demeanor melts away, and Asher begins to see the real man behind the cruel persona GEW has molded Caleb into, and an unlikely truce evolves into feelings neither want to deny, but the company won't let them be seen as anything other than bitter rivals, both in and out of the ring, as Asher and Caleb grapple with what they truly want. In an industry with a history of denying queerness, their forbidden romances come crashing down on them, and both men are forced to decide if the relationship is real enough to last, and just how much they're worth fighting for. So there's that. Then, Immortal Game. I think this is new adult. Well, it says young adult, but there's, I don't know. I need Allison Saff to write adult and more new adult, because what is that book? Like a drowning A Drowning Tide or something. That book was so good. And I fear, like, this cover, beautiful. But I fear it might be a little too young for me. But let's see. New, thrilling, romantic fantasy. A chess grandmaster will go to any lengths to save the person she loves the most. Let's see. 6 years ago, Shay's sister was whisked away by the High King of the Otherworld, the ruler of the treacherous land of Fae. Although Shay has spent the years since dreaming of rescuing her sister from captivity, the iron veil that separates the human world from the Fae has made it only a wish. That is, until an invitation to participate in a once-in-a-lifetime chess tournament in the Otherworld arrives on Shay's doorstep. The winner of the tournament may ask the High King to grant one wish, and Shay's is finally within reach. But entering the tournament and winning are two different things. Dark magic lurks around every corner in the Otherworld, and her cutthroat opponents are willing to bend the rules to make their own wishes come true. To make it to the end and to find her sister, Shay is forced to strike an alliance with her longtime rival and sharply beautiful Fae princess Sierra of... who knows? Not I, said the goose. One wrong move, though, and Shay may lose more than just the competition. She'll lose her sister, her dignity, and maybe even her life. This says it's a high-stakes sapphic love story brimming with competitive tension and set against a lush Irish folklore-inspired fantasy world, which makes me feel I did not say that name correctly, if it's Irish. Okay, well, next is Big Girl Blitz. I have this on here even though I have not read book 1 in this trilogy. I keep meaning to and I keep forgetting. Anyways, this, excuse me, I feel like I'm going to burp. Anyways, Jasmine Payne fled the small town of Chance the minute she graduated high school. But for 1 week every summer, she returns in order to spend time with her favorite person in the world, Aunt Addison. Even amidst health issues, Aunt Addie encourages Jazz to open herself up to fun and new experiences. When Jazz arrives for her most recent trip, she finds that Aunt Addie's condition has taken a drastic turn. The thought of anything happening to her aunt, combined with the memories of her childhood in Chance, pushes Jasmine to take her mind off things. So when Lamar sits next to her at the local sports bar, he provides the distraction she needs. Jazz and Lamar click instantly over their mutual love of football, and their connection only grows from there. Being with him made all her troubles, her divorce, Aunt Addie's illness, the drama in Chance disappear. But as real life consumes them both, and Jazz returns to Maryland, the intimacy they shared seems like a thing of the past. After 2 months apart, it would make sense that their initial spark wouldn't survive Jasmine's grief, Lamar's newfound popularity, and their pressures of perfection. Right? Haha, but they'll fall in love. And next. Okay. The Last Contract of Izako. I'm pumped. I didn't know Fonda Lee had anything coming out. I loved the Greenbone Saga, by the way. And I recommend everyone should read it. It's a good time, but not a good time, if you know what I mean. If you know what I mean, Jelly Bean. Alright. This one is literally a battle-worn contract samurai undertakes one last mission on a merciless planet where death is always a mere breath away, in this standalone dystopian epic from the author of the modern fantasy classic, Jade City. To serve is to live is to die. Izako is a legendary swordswoman, but every legend must come to an end. When her longtime client unexpectedly retires, she plans to follow, to walk out into the frozen wasteland of the planet with her head held high and her family enriched by her death. But when she's offered a final mission, she can't refuse, especially when she realizes who lies at the center of it all. Martim? Her last and worst apprentice, who somehow made his way to the top as she's thrust into a world of corporate espionage and shady secrets. What she uncovers could change humanity's existence among the stars. Could forever change humanity's existence among the stars. I was like, I left a word out there. The Last Contract of Izoko is an epic science fiction like only Fonda Lee can write, set in a world where money trumps loyalty and elite have the power to extend life or end it, and one woman in the twilight of her calling must decide what's ultimately worth living or dying for. Okay. Then We have platform decay. Am I caught up on the Murderbot Diaries? No. Is this still on my list? Yes. I'm not. Well, I think it's just like everyone's favorite lethal sect unit is back in the next installment. Having someone else support your bad decision feels kind of good. Having volunteered to run a rescue mission, Murderbot realizes that it will have to spend significant time with a bunch of humans it doesn't know, including human children. This may or may not call for eye contact. Emotional check 04. Huh. Anyways. That's coming out. Next. First of all, do you see this cover? Do you see it? Y'all, the UK covers for Amina Asarafi they're so beautiful. They're so beautiful. So what are the UK covers for the David Bond trilogy? Anyways, this one, long awaited. Should I read you this? I feel like, you know, how many of you have read, what is book 1? Isn't it just the Tales of Amina Afsarafi? I think. Anyways, it's a older pirate who basically retired, had a kid, and is just living her life being a mom. And then someone is like, hey, real quick, we're getting the crew back together. There's some things that need to be done. You want to come? And she agrees, and then they go on a journey. And of course, it's a trilogy, and so therefore things end. She basically gets home, and someone's like, don't forget about them promises you promised me. And this is now obviously the continuation of that. So I was like, well, I won't tell you how everything goes. But this one I am the most excited about. Open Era is a MLM tennis romance. I don't think you understand my excitement for this, because I read Backhanded Compliments, so good. And then I've read a couple other tennis romances, and they just were not my vibe, which is such a bummer. And I'm looking forward to this because I need more gay tennis romances for sure. Please. Please. Anyways. Love evens the score between two tennis players in this stunning debut romance. Recently turned pro tennis player Austin has been out since high school, and it's never been a big deal. That is, until he becomes the first openly gay man to compete in a Grand Slam. Suddenly being gay is a huge deal, with a headline to prove it. Unprepared for this new spotlight, Austin's anxiety disorder hits a breaking point, and he trips and falls at practice right next to the very attractive, very talented, and probably straight Diego, ranked world number 2. These two players started friendship off the court, but between their flirty banter, their mixed signals, and brewing rivalry, Austin is thrown further off his game by Diego. With the eyes of the world on Austin and the weight of history on his shoulders, and Diego across the net, he must decide if love means nothing or if it means everything as he battles for the trophy during an electric 2 weeks at the US Open. Because LOL, don't you know the whole love means nothing in tennis? Anyways. Or so they would say, or we would say all the time. Next. Okay, tempting Venom. This is to circle back to the other Rena Kent, because like I said, I was reading book 2, fell asleep, book 2 of the Vipers, which is, you know, unfortunate. I'm going to try to go back to it. I'm basically halfway through the book, and I started reading it a week ago. And I just am not interested to return to it, but I want to. But this one is MLM. And there's no information coming. There's no information, but I do know it's about Jude. No. I think the other character is Preston and Marcus. I can't wait. I wish this book was book 2. And who is it? Violet and Jude was book 3. But I do see how... Actually, no, you could have definitely flip-flopped them, and it would all be the same. Yeah, because Marcus is in book 1. Anyways, I'm just really pumped about this one. This doesn't come out till June. But I need it now. Next. I saw this. Again, my 3rd horror on this list. Wild. Because I think I did a reading vlog where I read horror and I was like, I don't know if this is for me. Maybe 2026 is the year I branch out into horror. But this one is Fabulous Bodies. Although it does make me nervous because I don't want it to be too heavy. Because I feel like I've seen Chuck Tingle's like other books and they feel like they'd be heavy. But this feels a little bit more lighthearted because it's fashion influencer by day and grave robber by night. Poppy is on call when Eddie, a flamboyant piano slamming rock star and queer icon, unexpectedly dies. All Poppy has to do is retrieve Eddie's body from the medical examiner's office, but what starts as a routine delivery quickly goes off course when Eddie wakes up. Poppy must fight for her life in a blood-soaked night of carnage and fabulous entertainment all across Palm Springs. Seems like it might be fun. I don't know. Next we have, well, I don't even know how to say this, Reliquy. It's Hannah Witten, which I really did like for The Wolf. I never finished that duology, and then I did read 2 out of the 3. Her one with the Poison Runner. I got to book 3 and I was like, you know, I feel like I don't know what's going on. I think I got 50 pages in and I was like, I don't know what's going on. And I've lost interest in this collective story. And I think at this point it's because I've read a couple of like reincarnated gods that I was like, I don't know if I'm into that. So here's this one. It's a young woman is lured to her late fiance's remote island estate only to discover eerie family secrets, a haunting past, and mantras hunger stirring beneath the sea in this deliciously atmospheric horror. Okay, 4 horrors are on my list so far. Debut. Yeah. Well. Okay. I feel we're just gonna move on because I was like, maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know. Just off of that, we're gonna move on. We got Dreamland. What is this? An intimate, contemporary, and visceral gothic novel about family secrets, unsolved murders, and ill-fated summer love. Another LA book. The headlines are calling it the summer of exsanguination. In LA, girls are being murdered. The Santa Ana winds are blowing a strange energy into the city, and all signs point to fire season. But Anya has other things to worry about, like whatever it takes to get a foot in the door of the unfeeling, ever-changing industry after losing the TV pilot that should have been her big break. Interesting. Anyways. This one, Mutual Discord. I think I picked it because I saw someone, I was just like looking up like 2026 releases and watching people who had already like kind of published theirs or like uploaded them to YouTube. And this, I watched a girl who did just all romance. And this one is messy because I think the male main character, there's no blurb. But the male main character I think is dating the female character's like friend. I'm assuming it's probably like a fake dating situation. I can't imagine it get messy enough to actually include cheating in a romance novel, but maybe so. It just, when I read the blurb on the author's website, it sounded like a Hot Mess Express, and I thought, maybe I'm into Hot Mess Express. Who knows? So then, next. Oh look, there's a description for this? B.K. Borison's. Oh, because I also read B.K. Borison's Good Spirits. It was okay. Nothing to write home about. However, I'm not a Christmas girly. I'm not a light girly. Grim Tidings is death. And we're here for death. Darcy is tired of death, which would be fine and good if she wasn't a Grim Reaper. See, yep, Determined to outrun her designation as a villain, Darcy decides she won't be dragging her next assignment to the underworld. She'll be saving him instead. Unfortunately for Darcy, there's a complication in her plan. Guardian Angel Gabriel doesn't tolerate threats to his little corner of the world, and Grim Reaper showing up at his bar is as deadly as it gets. But when he realizes Darcy is not as she seems, Gabriel must decide if he can trust his growing feelings or hold on to his long-standing grudge. But magic doesn't come without consequences, and the Department of Haunting and Spirits will eventually come calling for their missing Reaper, a spooky yet simmering enemies to lover's tale to keep you warm this Halloween. Yeah, 'cause tell you what, Good Spirits was cute, but I'm not a Christmas girly. I saw this and screamed and I said, this is the one I want. Okay. Next. We have The Wretched Divine. I saw this too somewhere, somehow, by Alan Grace because I really did like the Belladonna series. I even read Holly which is silly. It's just like, it's a 300-page novella. I think it's because it's a very like compact thick book with like large font. But I really enjoyed the Belladonna trilogy. Let's see. And I saw that she was doing this and I said, ooh, because I think this is grown up. Yeah, The Wretched Divine is a heart-pounding adult debut. I'm excited about ancient war between angels and demons. Yes. Yes. And the human knight determined to end it at any cost. Aurelia? I don't know. Was born to serve, raised as a knight in a kingdom ravaged by demons. She spent her life honing her blade, driven by memory of the monsters who tore her family apart and by the knowledge that she is one of the few who can stop them. If A can claim her first kill, she'll inherit a legacy passed down from the, I don't know, bloodline. A soul bound with Ural, an angel whose powers are vital to her kingdom's survival. But when those she loves begin turning into the very monster she swore to destroy, A is forced to seek help from the last place she ever imagined. Desperate. She forges a second and far more dangerous bond with Servin, a demon she can hardly trust, but who claims to know how to end the war for good. With their lives and fates intertwined, A, Y, and S must team up to hunt down a cure. Oh my god, my dyslexia is rampant. Capable of turning demons back into humans. But the more they learn about one another and the deeper their relationships grow, the more A begins to question the war and her place in it. With both of her bonded on opposing sides, she'll have to make a choice. Continue to stand with the angels or risk everything by trusting a demon. You think this will turn into a thruple-dum? Because I would be here for that. You think? Or you think she's going to do what she did in Belladonna? And if you know, you know. Anyways, this one is brand new. Tell me why. I'm recording this on Monday, which means yesterday was the World Drivers' Championship it was Abu Dhabi. Okay. Apparently, Hannah Grace, known to fame for Icebreaker, hockey romances, is doing Formula 1 romances. Why did I see Champagne Probs and thought, that's a cute name? Oh no, there goes my battery. There is no synopsis for this, so I'll end it on this. She's doing F1! She's doing F1! That's how I feel. Anyways, I'm excited. That concludes my 2026 releases. It's probably not everything, but I'm pumped. I'm excited. Oh, I'm pumped. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you didn't, I hope you could live your best life. Sorry if it annoyed you with all of my mess-ups reading. It's the life of someone with dyslexia. Anyways, you guys have a good night. Bye! Editing me here, even though it is on my full camera. I just happen to have it. Here's the thing. I confused, and some of you probably caught it, Isabel Cañas with Isabel like Ibanez. Is that how you say her name? Okay. Right? Can you see? When I had this author up, Isabel Ibanez, I was talking about how I was talking like it was this author. And I apologize to the Isabels. You two are not the same. Isabel Ibanez and Isabel Cañas. Sorry. I apologize. I should know better. I'm in Texas. I should know better, but it threw me off. They're not the same. So, just so you know. And then lastly, real quick, just to toss it in there, V. Schwab finally announced the release of like the 3rd book in the Vicious series, and I'm so pumped. I don't know where she's gonna go with it, because I remember reading Vicious, swallowed it in a singular day, then read Vengeful, and I was like, this book feels like a 180 turn from like what the first book is, but now I'm thinking that maybe that's wrong. So I can't imagine where this is going, but it will be out in October. And isn't that exciting? Okay, now you're good to go. Bye.